Hello everyone. In this video I'll be translating and summarizing the latest Urdu broadcast by Shahbaz Gill to make it accessible for our English-speaking audience. Let's go through the key developments and insights in Shahbaz Gill's words. Let's begin with the countdown. Only 47 days remain until Field Marshal Asim Munir's second retirement and the arrival of a new army chief in the country. As I have repeatedly stated, the remaining days will be challenging for Pakistan, its people, Field Marshal, the region and the system. The important news today is screaming that this extension is proving to be heavy on the entire system and the region. Let's update you first on the protest by Tehreek-e-Labbaik. As we record this, it is early morning on October 13th, Monday. The time is just before the Fajr prayer. Right now, there is a full-scale battle-like situation unfolding near Moeed with a very intense operation underway. Tear gas, baton charges, and gunshots are being fired. Of course, we won't know the full extent of the damage until the morning updates, but it is indeed a bloodthirsty operation. If we look at the day before October 12th, Saad Rizvi, the leader of Tehreek-e-Labbaik, tried to escape through a narrow gap. I'm not using the term narrow gap in any offensive way, but because I totally disagree with his politics. In my opinion, it's very clear that he is part of the general's team, and I'm not the only one saying this. Like the Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz PMLN is also saying this now, and many of their prominent figures are starting to voice similar opinions in private gatherings. Many are saying Field Marshal is orchestrating everything for his extension. However, the people who are getting shot, who are becoming martyrs, are ordinary citizens. They are our brothers and sons, and most of them, from their own perspective, have come out for Gaza or for a good cause. It is a very tragic situation. When these people are martyred, or have been martyred, it's heartbreaking. We must update you on this. Now, if we look at October 12th, there was a negotiation committee formed by Saad Rizvi's side to talk, but the authorities arrested this committee. Despite that, Saad Rizvi said he would form another committee for negotiations. Then another statement from Saad Rizvi came out saying, "We are not going for protests. We are going for celebration. We are going for unity." His rhetoric now is that there's no need for protests because an agreement has been reached. What they really want is an exit. They want a way out of this situation. Now, think about how an extension can be achieved. To get an extension, you need a fight. But who will fight and how? You need two parties for a confrontation. If I'm standing alone in the street or the market, I can't have a fight with myself. You need someone to oppose you. For that, military intelligence, like the ISI, will ask a group to act in a certain way, and another group will act differently. For instance, Saad Rizvi could have been pushed to start a protest, possibly with the backing of one of these intelligence departments. On the other hand, the other side might want a clash. If this happens, people will be killed and a crisis will erupt, which could then facilitate the desired extension. Some people may think that the agencies are divided, but they are not. It's a deliberate division. They will bring two parties face to face to create a conflict, and that's how they get the desired outcome. If this scenario leads to the required bloodshed, it would benefit those seeking an extension. Saad Rizvi, who stayed quiet during the Gaza issue, is now being used to further someone else's agenda. If he had come out when the need was there, it could have made a difference. But he didn't. Now, someone else has pushed him into this situation. There is a clear divide, but it's not what people think. The different factions may appear to be at odds, but behind the scenes, they are all orchestrated together. Let's move on to Afghanistan now. We need to talk about the clashes with Afghanistan, but also Sohail Afridi's election for Chief Minister of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. As we speak, just hours before, the resignation of the governor of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Ali Amin Gandapur, was rejected. There's a lot to discuss there, but for now, let's focus on the situation with Afghanistan. There was a statement from the DG diaspora on October 12th regarding the recent clashes. He clarified that the conflict occurred between the night of October 11th and 12th, involving foreign elements and Indian-sponsored insurgents. Kabul accused Pakistan of conducting airstrikes in Kabul, and clashes broke out in response. The DG ISPR issued a press release denying these allegations, saying they had not attacked Kabul. He also confirmed that over 200 Afghan Taliban and foreign militants were killed in the exchange of fire, and 30 Pakistani soldiers were martyred. They also temporarily took control of 21 Afghan posts, which were later vacated. However, the Taliban spokesperson, Zabiullah Mujahid, has claimed that Pakistan lost 58 security personnel, while 30 were wounded. He also claimed the Taliban took control of 20 Pakistani checkposts, but they were returned after the fighting ended. The most worrying claim from the Taliban spokesperson was about the presence of ISIS leadership in Pakistan. He accused Pakistan of facilitating ISIS militants, who are still active in Pakistan's provinces like Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Balochistan. He said ISIS operations are being carried out from Pakistani soil into Afghanistan. On the other hand, Pakistan denies these claims, saying that ISIS and similar groups are infiltrating from Afghanistan. Another serious allegation came from Mujahid regarding a faction of the Pakistani military that allegedly wants to escalate tensions with Afghanistan. He claimed that this faction within the military was deliberately creating instability to fuel the conflict. As the situation develops, both sides are blaming each other for these escalating tensions, and Pakistan continues to assert its position that it is defending its national interests. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister's advisor, Rana Sanaullah, praised the Pakistani army's response to the Afghan provocations and said that the entire nation stands with the armed forces. Moving on to a recent meeting between Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif and former Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, where they discussed the situation at the Afghan border and other matters. However, given the current internal divisions within the PMLN, it's surprising that Nawaz Sharif is even being consulted on such issues. The details of these discussions are unclear, and it seems the party is more focused on its internal rifts than on national issues. Now let's turn our attention to Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, where 4 candidates have submitted their nomination papers for the position of Chief Minister. Sohail Afridi is from the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, or PTI, party, and he is not a relative of Imran Khan or anyone else. He was the president of the ISF, the Insaf Students' Federation, and has come up from the grassroots level of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. On the other hand, Maulana Lutful Rahman, who is from the Jamiat Ulama-e-Islam, or JUIF party, is the brother of Maulana Fazlur Rahman. Then there is Arbab Zarak, who is likely the son of Arbab Alamgir from the Pakistan People's Party, or PPP. Finally, Sardar Shah Jahan, who, if I'm not mistaken, is either the son or a relative of Amir Muqam from the Pakistan Muslim League, or PMLN. Now you can understand what kind of competition this is. You can calculate which party is democratic and which one is not by looking at these candidates. The latest report suggests that Maulana Lutful Rahman will likely be the joint opposition candidate this time. One of the former generals, Sher Afzal Marwat, had left PTI, and there are others who are still in the party. Time will reveal how each of them will fare. If you mix 4 or 5 different liquid chemicals and set them on fire, each one will burn at its own pace. Similarly, different level political players will get exposed based on different circumstances and situations. Some are already done, and some will be done in time. They are saying that the JUIF is looking for a clad chief minister with a beard, and this is clearly a reference to Lutful Rahman. Sher Afzal Marwat was happily stating on television that he sees him becoming the chief minister. This is the current situation. But this situation is being stirred by Governor KP Mr. Kundi, who wrote a letter today to Ali Amin Gandapur. In his letter, he stated that he had received 2 resignation letters from him, and the signatures on both are different. Because you have sent me 2 resignation letters, I am confused about which one is valid and which one is not. Therefore, you must meet me on the 15th, as I am currently out of town. Come to me on the 15th to clarify which resignation is valid. Now, there are several interesting points in this. First, this letter makes it clear that he is in Peshawar, as when you sign something from another location, you usually mention whether you are in Islamabad, Paris, or wherever. The letterhead of the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa governor clearly states the Peshawar address, and he is signing on it. So either he is lying about being in Peshawar, or if he is not actually in Peshawar, this letter is technically incorrect. Secondly, he had previously claimed that he never received the first resignation letter, but now he is saying both have arrived. If he was telling the truth earlier about not receiving it, what is the truth now? Thirdly, under what law will he process this? Article 130 of the Constitution does not grant the governor of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa the authority to accept or reject a resignation. If you haven't been granted the position, you cannot make a decision about someone's resignation. The resignation is a one-way decision. Once someone decides to resign, it is final. Now, the Speaker has called for a session on this matter, and there will be an election in a few hours. What will they do? Either they will try to prevent the election through unconstitutional means, or they will obtain a stay order and refuse to accept Sohail Afridi as the Chief Minister. Nadeem Sethi has already analysed this situation and suggested that they will delay things, weaken PTI, and prevent Sohail Afridi from becoming the Chief Minister. They want to make someone from the opposition the Chief Minister. Now, you might think PTI has failed, but General Asim Munir still has the power to impose governor's rule anytime. He can do anything by force, even impose martial law. However, as I have said before, whether it's Jat or Baju, this situation will ultimately become a mess. The more they run, the harder the box will hit the ground, and the more they try to avoid it, the worse the situation will get. If they decide to use force, they can, but it will only trap them further. Khyber Pakhtunkhwa is not like Balochistan, where a smaller population can be controlled easily. This is not Punjab either, where they can use force or intimidation. Here, the situation will get much worse for them. Now, consider that Khyber Pakhtunkhwa has a population of at least 5.5 to 6 million, while Balochistan has only about 1.5 million. Also, with the military operations they have conducted in the region, the local people are very upset with them. The recent conflict with Afghanistan is another issue. I saw many people, including high-ranking officials, expressing regret about how our military caused so much destruction there. For the first time, we declared Afghanistan as an enemy, when just yesterday we did not consider it an enemy. Similarly, Pakistan's long-standing problem with India is still unresolved. So, after declaring Afghanistan an enemy, we are now positioning ourselves against both India and Afghanistan. Even if we take pride in the fact that Afghanistan does not have an air force, other countries can still provide it with one. The West is standing behind Afghanistan and the Taliban, not us. You can note this down. We are fighting a war we should have avoided, and the people of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa are not blind. They see and understand what's happening. If they impose governor's rule, they can do so by force. But after that, their relations with the people will become disastrous. Khyber Pakhtunkhwa is not Balochistan, and it is certainly not Punjab. The situation will spiral out of control. On October 12th, when General Pervez Musharraf imposed martial law, that day was marked as Black Day. Remember this, my fellow countrymen. The Pakistan People's Party, led by Bilawal Zardari, is now being used by generals as their puppet. They are helping a dictator in committing unconstitutional actions. They proudly carry out these anti-democratic acts. Recall that when the 26th constitutional amendment was passed, Bilawal Bhutto was similarly involved in something controversial. These people are not democratic. From Bhutto to his family, they have always been dictators. They only don the cloak of democracy when it serves their interests, and when it suits them, they become dictators. This is the situation I wanted to share with you. There are more updates, and I will discuss them in the next blog. For now, 4 candidates are in the running for the position, but the resignation has not been accepted yet. This means that the Pakistani generals will not leave anything behind, and as I mentioned before, they will do whatever it takes to secure an extension for their leadership. That wraps up our translation of Shahbaz Gill's video. I hope this English version helped you understand his message better. Please like, share and subscribe to Awami Lens to help our community grow. Don't forget to leave a comment below and let me know what you thought of this effort.